Welcome to Verkada Access Control Deep Dive, a series of videos where I'm trying to shed light into the aspects of both the hardware and software related to Verkada's access control solution. Today, it's all about access levels, schedules, first person in, and double badging. Now, I know I covered access levels and schedules before, but there have been a couple of UI changes. There have been a few settings that have been added, so I thought that there is no harm in revisiting this subject. Let's first talk about the access levels, because they are critical in bringing together three important elements: groups of users, doors, and times of entry. And that is because in almost all situations, you need to have flexibility to decide whether or not this group of people should be able to enter a door at a specific time. So think about examples such as usual employees being only able to enter Mondays to Fridays, but possibly the IT or security staff having access throughout the weekend, or things such as the IT team and only the IT team having access to the IT closet room. And with regards to every door, you can have at least one access level. And when you click on it, you'll actually see those three elements that I've listed before. So you have at least one group of users, at least one door, and the schedule itself, which by default is access granted. But from here, you'll be able to clear it and denying access at certain times or on certain days. If you scroll down, you also have exceptions, because there might be scenarios in which you want to allow people to come in the office. However, let's say Christmas Day is coming, you don't actually expect them to be here. So you can click add exception, select the day, and instead of access granted, you just mark it as no access. When I last shot a video about access levels, they were only site specific. However, as we expanded the platform capabilities, we also added the flexibility of you tagging access levels across multiple sites, which you can do it here or within the main access control menu. So you'll see the access levels, the groups, the doors, and also the sites. Now, there are various ways you can design your access levels. I do suggest to make it as simple as possible and also as clear as possible, just in case people need to pick up and understand exactly why these access levels are set as they should. And the rule of thumb is that if a user is part of multiple access levels, some denying him or her access through a door and some allowing it, they will automatically be allowed. If you expect to get in, you need to make sure that your user profile is in at least one access level that gives you access to that door at that particular time. Going back to the IT closet room example, you can have one access level that would say that all employees will not be able to access that door, and you can have another access level in which the IT personnel group actually has access. So the IT people, because they have access through the second access level, will be able to access the door, while others will not. Another cool feature that we released since I've done my previous video is the ability to actually run reports for each door in order to allow you to understand who actually has access. If you go inside the reports tab, you'll actually see a subsection called door access, and you'll have all your doors listed, and all you need to do is click the users and you'll actually get a list of all the users that can access that door. And this is obviously very important, because if you made an error when it comes to your access levels, you'll actually see it here and you'll be able to rectify it ahead of time. Now that we know what access levels are, where do the schedules actually come in? Well, the schedule is the behavior of the door itself, regardless of the users that are trying to access it. The door can be open, so anybody could go through the door. The door could be locked, so nobody has access, or the door, as it is by default, is access controlled. So it will ask for credentials, match them with a profile, and then check in within the access levels if that particular user should have access through that door at that particular time. And the reason why we use schedules is that we want to specify rules that can cover all the users. So let's say you might have an event in your office on a particular day. You can go inside the door schedule here, you can edit it, and you can say, hey, you know what, on Tuesday we'll have an event. I want people to be free to walk in and out. So I just click inside here, specify a start and an end time, have the option to repeat across multiple days as well, and leave the door unlocked. The opposite of that is obviously locked. So even the people that might be part of access levels that allow them through that door at that particular time will actually not have access. And this is great for days of the year in which you actually don't expect anybody in the office. So Christmas Day, New Year's Day, etc. That is where you might want to use such a thing. I'll go back to access control because again, that's the reason that we're deploying access control, to be able to specify who can actually access the door and when, and also show you a couple of other options. The first important one is card plus code entry. So this is where you mandate two-factor authentication by users not only scanning their card, but also inputting a PIN. And for that, you have two options. You either use the Verkada AD64 PIN pad reader or any Wigan-based third-party one. As a caveat, please make sure that if you're using readers with PIN pads, that you put card plus code across all those doors, because if not, then users can use either their card or their PIN, and that's the default behavior. The last two settings that I want to review, that again have been launched ever since I've done the previous video, is first person in. This is something that we developed for health and safety use cases where, for a reason, you're not allowed to open a site before a particular user comes in. So you might have somebody who is certified in health and safety, for example, or is a first responder, and you don't want to run a site without them first being present. Well, you turn on first person in, you create a group for these first responders or health and safety trained people, and the system will then expect them to first badge in before allowing other people in. The second option you'll see here is this one that's called double badge. Perhaps you've been in an airport and while waiting for the gate to open, you might have seen this particular behavior. The plane pulls at the gate, and before people disembark, the gate attendant goes to the door, double badges, and then the door opens and remains open. Afterwards, when everybody's disembarked the plane and the new travelers boarded it, the attendant goes and does the same thing, double badges, and then closes the door. This is the exact same behavior. So with double badging, you'll be able to specify which groups of people are able to do such a thing. Once they tap in twice on the same reader in a 5-second interval, that will change the door from its current schedule to unlocked. And then tapping it twice again will then revert it to the schedule that it was on before. Very importantly is that if there are multiple schedules through the day, when the new schedule kicks in, that will override and close the door. And also, as a safety mechanism, at midnight, the door will go back to its original schedule. So do make sure that your access controllers have the right address, because that is what's dictating their time. The last thing I want to also mention is that we have made some UI changes when it comes to the intercom itself. So now not only the intercom is available through the access control page as a regular door, but also you have a whole access control part of it. So you have the intercom live menu, the historical events, the video part that gets you the analysis of the cameras themselves, and the access control part that resembles any other door, including access levels and schedules. And obviously this is very critical if you're using the intercom as a single door controller.